I wanted to talk to you guys about um how it's added and how to keep it. Okay. And many of you guys will say, Joel, here you go talking about how to keep something. You only been married for a few months. And you're right. You're right. But regardless of the fact, this principle that I'm about to share with you guys is true. Period. And it doesn't matter how long you've been in a relationship, how long you've been married, it doesn't matter how short, doesn't matter the time frame, because this principle is objectively true. Period. And I want to explain it because these are things that I've realized that have been revealed to me that I know that work. I know that they work. Okay? And I want to explain them to you. So, first off, I want to explain how it's added. Okay, we've talked about this a few times, but I want to bring it back up in a different way. So, how it's added. Jordan Peterson explains it perfectly and simply here in this clip I'm about to show you. He explains what it looks like when it's added. And it's interesting to hear because I'm not really too familiar with Jordan Peterson. I don't know, Jordan B. Peterson. I don't know all these different names. Jordan Peterson. I don't know. I'm not too familiar with his work, but I know that he's a smart guy. I've seen clips here and there. Sometimes some of those clips I don't necessarily agree with everything, but in this one, I think he's just absolutely telling the truth. And this is from Instagram, Dr. Decisive on Instagram. Jordan Peterson describes what genuine love looks like. Here we go.
If you love someone, if it's genuine love, you see their hidden soul. That's a good way of thinking about it. You get a glimpse of the light that they could reveal to the world if they revealed it. That's what you see. And then to act in love is to encourage that to come forward and to discourage anything that gets in its way.
I'm going to play that one more time in case you missed it.
If you love someone, if it's genuine love, you see their hidden soul. That's a good way of thinking about it. You get a glimpse of the light that they could reveal to the world if they revealed it. That's what you see. And then to act in love is to encourage that to come forward and to discourage anything that gets in its way.
When I tell you that that is completely true, it's completely true. You guys heard me talk about that before, about seeing getting a glimpse at the real person, seeing who they truly are. And then when both people see that, you draw it together, and then you guys can, get married or work on your relationship, whatever it may be. But that is exactly how it's added. And when I came across that, it was absolutely true. And I thought it was interesting to hear somebody else say it in that way, as I've been saying it for this past probably like year and a half, maybe 2. And it's so true, is that he just put in different words. He said different words. He said get a glimpse into their soul. But that's exactly true, is that when it's added, you see the heart of the person. You see that. And when you see that, you see the truth and you see what you need to see. And what happens is, yes, you may want to get to know each other a little bit and feel it out and just kind of see how things go. Nothing wrong with that. But the whole purpose of getting to know somebody is to discover that, right? That's what most people, when they get together, they're getting to know each other to discover that insight, to discover that glimpse into who that person really is at their core, right? And when both people see that about each other and you're in agreement, then you have this connection, right? Which is God at the center. It is, because God is the one that's showing these two people what that connection is, right? So when that happens, then you know that you guys are the right match for each other. Now, does that necessarily mean that it's gonna, last forever before you get married, right? Does that necessarily mean that this is the person you are to marry, that it's gonna last forever? Does that necessarily mean that? No, not necessarily. But what God allows, let no man separate. So the potential could be there. The potential might be there, right? Because God put it together. But two people both have to continue to work on themselves and continue to do exactly what Jordan Peterson said in that video is now, I'll use his words, cultivate what you see, right? So you speak to what you see, the true nature that was revealed to you. You speak to that and you remember that. So that way, when all the issues come up, the judgments and the challenges and the things that you think you don't like or dislike or whatever the case is, when those things come up, you now know that those things are just silly things that come and go. But what is true and what really matters is what you see about each other. And if you can remember that, and if you can stay grounded in that, then you can get married and it'll last till death do you part, because you know and stick to and are disciplined in knowing the truth about who you marry. God does it like that for a reason. So that's how you're able to do thick and thin and sickness and health, because that will never change. What you see will never change, but attitudes and personalities and interest, all those things change. You know what I mean? So you won't be surprised when they start liking different things. Like, what the? It's not important. So that's what it's like when it's added. Okay. Now I want to share with you guys on how I believe you can keep it till death do you part. All right. Now I want to explain really quick, and then we'll get to some calls and some super chats on how to keep it. Y'all remember Tony Robbins? Tony Robbins said something that was interesting as well. Right? I think Tony Robbins is a smart guy. Don't necessarily agree with every single thing that he says either, but I think he's a smart guy, and I think he's saying something that's interesting here. This from YouTube on Tony Robbins Live. Tony Robbins describes how you should love others. Here we go.
Here's the other biggest mistake, if you want to jot it down, that happens in relationship. Most people go to an intimate relationship looking to get something, and they have a bunch of expectations. And if their expectations aren't met, they're upset. And the truth is, a relationship is a place you're supposed to go to give something. But we've been all raised in different ways, and some of us have been raised to think that someone is supposed to look after, love us every single moment a certain way, whatever that way is. But the truth is, relationships are the most beautiful place on earth because, as I said the other day, what happens the minute you experience something that is really enjoyable, really beautiful? What's the first thing most of us want to do? Want to share it with somebody we love.
So he talks about is when you in a relationship, the expectation is to have an expectation, right? To want something from the person. What could they give me? And da da da. But what he said, just quickly in that little part there that stood out to me the most, that is so true, and I've experienced it for myself, is that when you approach these relationships, you have to be the giver. It's about giving it. If you're a man, and I'm speaking to men specifically here, men, when you get in these relationships or you get married, the love starts with you. It starts with you. If you give the love, if you pass the love down, it'll be received and they'll give it back. The women and the children will give it back. But it starts with you giving that love. You know what I mean? You got to give it. And oftentimes we go into these relationships and we're trying to change people, or we're trying to mold them into certain things, and we're trying to correct them at all times and all those different things. And we mean well. We mean well when we're doing it, ladies. Right? But sometimes it's not coming from the right place. Right? The point is to give love. And love isn't just always sitting around correcting or trying to change somebody or try to get them to see the truth, or just being of love. When you give that, you get it back. And also, for the guys, when you give anything else, you get that back as well. You give judgment, you're going to get it back. You give criticism, you're going to get it back. So we set the tone for the relationship. We set the tone for love because God has given us the authority to love properly our family. So it starts with the man. It always starts with the man. Women have their responsibilities too. Even when the man is not being what he ought to be, a woman still should, or a wife should still love and respect her husband as well. That's another thing. But it makes it very hard on her when the head of her is not doing his part. It's extreme. It's very hard to carry that because she's not meant to. So you got to do that. All right? You got to be of love. And I have a little scripture to back it up, but I'm going to save it because I'm going to get to some calls real quick. Oh, we lost the calls here. It's okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get to. Okay. Okay, cool. Let me go to William number 7. Where is he from, Derek? From California. William, welcome to the show. You're on the air.
Hey, can you hear me okay?
I can hear you. How's it going?
Excellent. So, hey, by chance, was that scripture somewhere in 1 Corinthians 13? Just by chance? About love?
Yeah, go ahead.
No, that was a question.
Oh, what was the question?
I asked, you said you're going to share a scripture about love, but I'll save it. And I was asking, was it happen to be 1 Corinthians 13? That was my question.
No, it's Ephesians.
Yeah. My favorite. Anyway.
Yeah.
So, hey, I like that's very deep what Jordan Peterson, I listen to him a lot. Probably hundreds of hours in the last 5 years. Hundreds of hours in my delivery van.
Nice.
And I've never heard him say that way.
Yeah, me neither. Me neither. That's why I was surprised to hear it so simply, because he's very intellectual, but because he's very smart. But it's like,
yeah,
when he put
nothing wrong with that. It's his gift. God gave him that
exactly.
gift.
But when I hear him say something as simple and to the point as this, it was just kind of shocking to hear.
I mean, I've heard him himself, and like I said, I've listened to him many hours, and I'm not going to lie, hundreds, and over the years. And he said him and his wife, it was hell for the first year and a half, 2 years, because they wanted to get it. He said, no lies, if something bugs us, get to the bottom of it, don't let it fester. And he knows that by all his clinical work. And, I mean, same with JLP, right? He knows, and yet to see all that, and yet sometimes your very own house, you can be like, you got to take your own advice,
Yeah.
And it's awesome seeing that when I watch your church, because one of these days I hope to make the trek down there to LA, because that's where I was born.
Nice.
And so, I just thought that was profound. I don't know how you could add to that.
Yeah.
And I guess the glimpse you see, that's something God Like because I believe I've had a soulmate. I've ran in a couple in my life. I'm almost 60. So I'm 59 right now, if JLP were to ask. Actually, I'd be 59 in a week or two. But anyway.
So you're 58.
Right this minute, but I will be 59 in a week.
Yeah.
But, so I just, like when you meet people that you feel like you've known all your life, but you haven't, I think that's a spiritual thing, and we don't even realize it. We just, because no one even wants to talk about the spirit. Hardly at all in the church, certainly not in the world, not at work.
Yeah.
So amazing. Those are my thoughts, and I guess I'll get off because you probably want it spiffy.
No, I'll just say really quick, and I appreciate that you're getting straight to the point, but I think people don't talk about it much because a lot of people don't even know it exists. You know what I mean? They don't recognize it or they haven't experienced it because we're taught, even in the church, even the churches don't really talk about it. They pull out the verses and do these things, but I don't know if they really even know oftentimes because they think sparks and emotional stuff is an indicator of you found somebody proper, but it goes far beyond just sparks. It's a glimpse, like we were mentioning here, to where that can only come from God. You know what I mean? It's not a special kiss or any type of intimate moment that dictates that. It's just a glimpse at what is really needed to be seen. So it's interesting, William.
Maybe like a glimpse into the divine, because he likes to say it that way. Jordan Peterson does. A glimpse into the divine, or something like that. And I don't even know divine. I would guess that's the creator, or maybe divine is destiny, or our best. Maybe it's the best man and or woman we could be. I mean, I watched him break down in tears, thinking if Jesus is truth in the way in life, that if you truly believe that, it is so unbelievable what we could accomplish. It's like, and then I'm pretty sure he's being honest, unless he's one hell of an actor too, but I don't think so. But that went viral, him breaking down, because he went through hell, with his health and his daughter and his wife.
Yeah.
So he's been through it,
Yeah.
And all right. Well, good stuff. Shout out to all y'all there, Nick and JLP. Man, he's hard to get a hold of. He's so busy.
Yeah,
and,
you got to get in there early. Call in if you want to. You got to call in real early and often, and you'll get in there.
Yeah, but I work for a living.
Oh, okay.
And probably will till I die.
I got you.
But that's okay.
Well,
Nothing wrong with work, I don't think.
Oh, I appreciate that, William. I appreciate the input. Call me again, man.
All right, man. Peace out.
All right. Let me keep the calls moving. Let me go to Kaya. Kaya out of North Carolina. Kaya, welcome to the show. You're on the air.
Hi, Joel. Thank you. How are you?
All is well, Kaya. How you been?
Oh, I've been well. I'm
on.
laughing a little because William said, well, I work for a living.
Yeah.
Like, bro, we all got jobs. No, that made me laugh. I know what he meant. He doesn't have time to. But anyways, I was calling in because I have a question about what you mean when you say, and I'm paraphrasing, that God is in the center of a relationship.
Yeah.
Well, not like a man and woman's or potential marriage.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
It means that there is a connection that is happening on your behalf that you're not responsible for. And what that is because you're staying present, you're keeping your eyes on yourself, you're, trusting God, all the right things. And God is using this connection that he brought together that you didn't form, that we don't form ourselves. And on our behalf, because we're staying faithful to him, he's just keeping it alive. And we don't make ourselves do it. We don't make ourselves have it. And we cannot make it more or less. It's just kind of happening on our behalf. So that's what I mean.
Okay. So the connection is chemistry the same word that you mean when you say connection?
Well, I'm confused. I'm not sure what you would define as chemistry, because chemistry to me is like when two people get along or have the same interests, like personality traits, or oh, you guys both
Well,
love to laugh.
well, I've always been under the impression, and like most things, I've always been wrong, but that chemistry between two people, let's just keep it, we're talking men and women.
Yeah.
Chemistry is this natural draw that two people have to one another, to where when they are doing things together, it just flows without effort.
Yeah.
Nobody's trying
Yeah.
to impress or trying to flirt. Is that what you mean by
Yeah,
connection?
I mean, exactly. It's just a natural.
Okay.
It's happening naturally. You're not trying to make it happen. You don't necessarily have an interest to try so hard to make it work, but you do have an interest in each other, obviously, type of thing. But you're not
Okay.
trying to force it or be all emotional over it.
So does that mean anytime two people feel a connection, let's say you are married and you have a coworker and she's a woman, and you guys have a strong draw because little do you know she's working on herself or whatever it
Yeah.
is every connection you feel with people from God?
Well, if it's a true connection that you have with somebody, or like a brother or sister or like a friend or whatever the case may be, yeah, it's still the same love. But obviously, when it comes to somebody you have plans to be more intimate with, it's just there's that aspect of it too. But at the core of it, that connection itself is what you would have with all people.
Okay. So if this connection, if God's in the center of a relationship, it seems like what you described is the reason why God would be in the center, is that these two individuals on their own are seeking God. Am I understanding that correctly?
In order to maintain that connection, that's what it has to be. Because what happens is, if two people start to look away or drift off, they'll forget, and it'll be covered up. That connection will be covered up with all like the temptations of the world. So it's important that both people continue to work on ourselves so that stays clear.
Okay. So if I do understand what you're saying, but then I also kind of don't, because I just don't understand if God's in the center of we'll just call it a marriage. That's essentially what we're talking about, right? We're not talking about the girl you've been dating for 6 months. If God is in the center,
well, he can be there for that too. He's there from the very beginning. But go ahead and make your point. Go ahead.
But ultimately, we are talking about marriage, right? At least you are. Okay.
Yeah.
So if God's in the center, I'm so ghetto now with the helicopter flying over me. I'm so sorry. I am.
You in the hood?
Hey man,
No,
I am black. Okay. Golly, that was shameful. Okay, so if he's in the center, how would there be an opportunity for these two individuals who are connected by God? Number one, how would they have an opportunity to separate? And number two, why, if God brought them together, why would they separate? And why would they have conflict if God's in the center? God is not a God of conflict.
Yeah.
So I find contradictions when I try to understand it. I hear, but that's the rebel in me too, which is why I'm asking, can you make that more plain?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. God will give it, and then he'll see how we handle it. Because I was in a previous situation before the one I'm in now, but I wasn't married before. And in that relationship, it was the same. It came together in the same way, right? That naturally, and like you speak of. But I didn't handle it properly, right? I was doing all my intentions were in the right place. I meant well by it, but I had all the weird things in my head of how to be a man and how to approach manhood and approach relationships. And I was just like an alpha bro type of thing. And I fumbled it because I wasn't handling it properly. I wasn't being the example. I wasn't focusing on myself. I was focusing on her. I was constantly judging her, thinking that that's what I should do. I was trying to, and what that did was only bring her more conflict, and there was no love there. So God took it away. So God will give us things, he'll give us gifts, right? Physically or spiritually, but he'll give you a gift and he wants to see how you handle it. And if you handle it properly by seeking him first and keeping him above everything and not making people too important. I did that as well in my last situation. Then he'll not only make it last, but give you more than what you expected. So there's work that is involved.
Okay.
So he won't just give it and it's gonna last forever, and you're just gonna now you just hang your hands up and not do nothing about it. No, he wants to.
Well, I mean, that's not that. Yeah, I mean, that has nothing to do with seeking God, right? Like if I woke up 3 years ago and then I was like, well, that was cool, and then I didn't even continue to work on myself,
right, exactly.
then obviously I will lose it. But God didn't do that. I just didn't stay the course.
Well, and that's the same thing, is that he'll give these responsibilities to us that what ultimately draws closer to him if we handle them properly. But if you don't, then he'll take them away.
Okay. So I'm not a Bible thumper at all, but I know the Bible does spend a little bit of time talking about marriage, not too much, but a little bit. And one of the lessons, if you will, is number one, it's the husband's job to act as the Christ of his bride, make her perfect and blameless before the Lord.
Yeah.
And then the other one is husbands, love your wives, wives, respect your husband.
Yeah.
But it seems like because we don't know what love is or what respect looks like, there's a lot of muddiness. And then somehow we're like putting it on God.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just wonder, it doesn't matter if I agree or disagree with what you're saying.
Yeah.
I just have a hard time even being open to it because I don't know if God is really that concerned about number one, if people get together for marriage. And then I don't believe he wants it to be separated if it's under him. I don't believe he wants that to end because the true purpose of the marriage is to for the husband to present his wife, right? And the wife to live out her days in faithful respect to her husband.
Well,
so that's a very plain purpose. No, that's it.
Well, I'll read you the scripture that I was gonna use today on the show, but I ended up taking the calls. But perfect segue here is Ephesians 5:25-33. It says, "Husband, love your wives, even as Christ has loved the church and gave himself for it, that he might sanctify and cleanse it with the washing of water by the word, that he might present it to himself a glorious church, not having a spot, wrinkle, or any such thing, but that it should be holy and without blemish. So ought men to love their wives as their own bodies. He that love his wife, love himself." So if God is not involved, then Jesus wouldn't be as descriptive about marriage as he is here. Is that just in the same way Jesus came back, sacrificed his life, endured his own needs and wants and desire to save us, is the way that we ought to show that same love back to men, back to their wives. Because in that way, what you're doing is through that example, as Jesus overcame and as a man overcomes, he teaches a woman how to do the same thing. And she seeks that teaching out without competition, without trying to be above him, without trying to combat it. She just learns from his example because he's passing down the love to her, and she can't help but to respect him and love him back. So I think that we are to look at God involved in all things, as simple as washing the dishes, cleaning the house, because he is involved in all things. And
well, yeah, by staying present, but by saying like God is involved, it kind of creates this like portrait of he's this ultimate orchestrator of putting people together, and when they're having an argument, he's wrapping his arms around. Like it kind of makes it a little mythological in a way for me.
But what makes that not true?
Well, I'm not saying it's not true. I don't know.
Well, I mean,
I
like not true, but what is wrong with it being mythological, or what is wrong with it being God involved in that way?
I don't think that it's wrong or right. I just tend to think that it doesn't always sound true.
Oh, okay.
Like in the sense of plain. It's not plain to me. It becomes a little bit complicated to understand what you mean. But then when you're explaining it, I do understand what you mean.
I see. So
but I don't know what. Go ahead.
So you're more like a realist, huh, Kaya?
Well, I'm really just a mess. I wouldn't say I'm a realist.
But I mean, like practical. You more like to see things that are like you can prove, or you can.
No, it's just I'm just very much a lover of language, and sometimes if the language isn't clear, the message gets lost for me. And so I'm trying to get over that, because plain is plain.
I see.
But whenever you say God in the center, it makes me wonder, like, okay, so does that mean, okay, I'm in a fight with my husband, and he goes, hey, hold on, stop. We need to do the silent prayer right now. And then we're doing the silent prayer, and then now we come out of it. God just fixed it. Like, I just don't really get what you meant when you said, like, he's in the center, or.
Yeah.
And then I also wonder, too, if that is true, then wouldn't the marriage be blissful? Why would there even be an issue?
There shouldn't ever.
You know what I'm saying?
There isn't supposed to be an issue. If we remember what was revealed to us, and we continue to work on ourselves, then we would remember that there is no issue. The connection is already there. We're both good. We both see that we both mean well, and that we actually genuinely love each other. It's only when the lies tend to take over and we believe them that these things come up. But one thing I'll say really quick, and then not you sparked everybody else wanting to get in on this. But
I don't care about them, Joel.
I know.
I know, I'm totally joking.
I gotta keep. But I'll say this is that, like, the thing is, the reason why this stuff makes sense to me, because ever since, I mean, I think it's just been given to me to believe in the possibilities, to where maybe to a fault, I believe things. I just believe things to be true. But what happens is because my heart is open to believe these things, and my mind is open, it leaves room for it to be received if it's possible. And because of that, is if it made sense to me, even before I got married now, is that everybody, typically, not everybody, but most people saying that what I was looking for doesn't exist, that it's not real, like how people are going to see your heart. Human beings can't see your heart. Everybody told me that, but it was already revealed to me that was possible. And of course, you don't see it like in physical examples out in the world, because it's rare that you see something real, right, or genuine. But I always knew it to be true, but it was because I kept my mind open and my heart open to the possibility that this could be true. Anything could be true. And I think it's an injustice to close your mind out. You said what?
Yeah, I totally agree with you, because I don't think it would have been laid out so plainly, like what you said in Ephesians, if it wasn't possible.
Right.
My question stemmed from, if God's in the center, what does that look like? But I don't think that what you're saying isn't possible or achievable.
Yeah.
I just also don't know if it's more to do with individuals working on themselves, or God specifically going, hey, you, Joel, and you, Joel's wife, you guys look like two cool individuals. I'm going to handpick you guys to meet some kind of way, and I'm going to spark the vibe.
Yep.
So that's just all I wonder, like, is it that deep? Does he care that much?
Yeah, is that
about
much?
Who gets married and blah, blah, blah.
Is that deep, and is that much? Because he has a plan for it, he has a purpose for it. And a lot of people don't think that relationships have purpose or whatever, that it's just like these little branches of life that we just kind of like have to deal with ourselves. But no, he's involved in everything because it has a purpose. It serves a purpose for whatever type of plan that he has, and we just don't know yet. But I would just say that if it doesn't make sense, keep it open like you're doing now, and asking questions, and let it be revealed, because I may not have the perfect words to allow it to make sense to you clearly, but over time, maybe it'll just be revealed exactly what I'm saying or whatever the case may be. So I would just leave it open. As long as you're open, then you're good.
Right on. One question, and it'll be so fast.
Yeah.
Why did you want to get married?
I didn't necessarily have a desire to get married in the very beginning because all my family members around me were not married. Mom, dad, uncle, brother, sister, me. Everybody's single. I never seen marriage besides one uncle, and he wasn't really around too much. So I didn't have a desire. It wasn't until I came to Bond and Jesse revealed to me what marriage is supposed to be like. And then I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting. And then even then I was still kind of like, oh, we'll see. But when I actually got into something real, what came from that just opened my mind up to so many different things that I had no idea even existed, and I experienced what it's supposed to be. So from there, it just opened my eyes to what it should be, what it can be, and how it can benefit a family and all that stuff if it happens naturally.
Yeah. Well, I wish you well with that, and I think that's amazing. I'm not anti-marriage in any way.
Yeah.
I think I agree with you that the right person under God, it will last forever because God hates divorce.
Yeah.
But people get married under the guise of what they think it is.
Yeah.
And obviously that's why it doesn't work out because there really is no foundational knowledge of God individually. So then you try. Yeah. So I get it. I do understand. And I don't think it's wrong for someone to wake up and still have a openness to being in a marriage. So right on. I appreciate your time today.
Right on, Kai. And I appreciate the question. Good to hear from you. And call me.
Yeah, you as well.
Call me again.
All right, I will. Take care.
All right. Running out of time. Let me go to Maze out of Dayton, Ohio. Maze want to get in there. Maze, welcome to the show. You're on the air.
Hello, Joel.
How's it going, Maze?
It's good you came to understanding what God did for you and not man, and not a silent prayer. You got to experience for yourself to understand what it is. Because if you haven't, one day it'll hit you too. And you will be married, you find the love of your life and be with them forever.
Yeah.
Until the day they die or you die.
Yeah.
And that's the way it swings. If you believe in God, but if you believe in man and what man got to tell you in society, you will be getting a divorce.
That's right. I'm with you on that,
When
Maze.
you say God is in the middle, some people don't know who God is. That's why they have to question things that they see. And I feel that same way about people.
I'm with you on that, except the silent prayer is helpful, so you should do it.
No silent prayer. Just meditation, but not a silent prayer. Because God didn't create no silent prayer.
Tomato.
So we can leave that one off.
Okay.
So when he's lying, he's laughing. When she's crying, she's lying. When he's laughing, he's lying. Y'all put it that way.
You're going to put it on a t-shirt.
Not, that's the way it goes. When you find your true love that you didn't expect to have, and when you find it, it'll be with you forever.
It'll be, right, because it's
love
proper.
And respect and happiness.
Yeah, and it happens naturally. Nice. So you understand that it can be added by God and God's involved even in the relationship and the marriage.
Yes, at all times.
Nice.
Through the good and the bad.
Right on, Maze. Well, I'm glad.
Listen and learn.
That's right. I appreciate it.
That's how you learn. Put your head somewhere else and you'll get out of your trouble. Have a good one, J.L.
All right, you too, Maze. Thank you. Nice. See, Maze. Listen. Come on. Man, okay, I got it. Let me check super chats real quick. Let me check super chats real quick. Liesel, very genuine. Very genuine. No. Very generous. What the? I'm trying to say genuine. Anyway. Liesel with a generous donation. Joel and Lil C. Here's my cut for the pontoon rental this weekend. I won't be able to make it, but you guys have fun. Next time, bring the party my way. Right on, Liesel. Shout out, Liesel. We appreciate you. Always showing love. Liesel's like the light in the chat. We appreciate you, Liesel. Everybody loves Liesel. Thank you, Lisa. Madi Ubaldo said, love you guys. I'm going on vacation. Right on, Madi. Take us with you. Where you going? And can we come? That's the question. Right on, Madi. Appreciate it. Aaron G says, I have pain and the thoughts keep telling me to close my heart and harden it to protect myself. Have you ever dealt with that? And what did you do to work through that? Yeah, don't close your heart and harden it. That's the devil tempting you to do that. You shouldn't do that. I'll do what you want, of course, right? And if don't force yourself not to do it either. If you end up you wanting to do that for whatever reason, do it and find out the results. But I would recommend that you have faith and let go of what life is supposed to be. And what happens is when you're honest with yourself and you have faith is when your heart is open, right? And you want to keep it open and not closed or hardened, right? Hardened is due to pride. Hardened is due to denial. Hardened is due to anger. And you want to not hold on to those things. And just by simply recognizing them and admitting that you shouldn't be feeling this way or that you don't want to feel this way or whatever the case is, then your heart is no longer hardened. You know what I mean? But you got to be honest about it. To keep your heart soft and tender is you got to be honest at all times about everything regarding yourself. At all times. The ugly, the dirty, the nasty, the crazy. You got to be real. And that'll set you free. I ain't making that up.